A sentence to make you believe I've heard you out. Today's story comes from a netizen named the Third Young Master's Sword. In 2007, the young master and his uncle worked as drivers at a machinery factory, responsible for delivering goods to other factories. They had been working for over a year and had saved some money, but they felt that relying solely on a fixed salary was not a long-term solution. Moreover, the trucks in the factory were too old and often broke down on the road. The two of them negotiated with the boss, asking if they could buy their own truck and take over the delivery work, discussing the freight rates. The boss thought about it and agreed. The young master and his uncle began to consider buying a truck. At that time, the total amount of money they had on hand was 120,000 yuan, which was not enough to buy a new one. They spent several days in the second-hand car market, saw a few that they liked, but due to insufficient funds, they did not make a purchase. Then one day, a second-hand car dealer took the initiative to call them, saying that there was a car that met their requirements. The people from Suzhou were very happy because the car was a 90% new box truck, with original paint, and both of them liked it very much. According to the market conditions at the time, this car was worth at least 170,000 yuan. Although they liked it very much, they were limited by funds and could not bargain. The car dealer made a phone call and then sold it to them without hesitation for 120,000 yuan. After the car was bought back, the two of them went to work as usual. Just on the fourth day of delivering goods with this car, something happened. On the way back, the uncle was driving and encountered an old man whose lower leg was fractured. After they sent the old man to the hospital, they compensated a sum of money. On the way home, my uncle asked him if he had seen the old man at the time. He did see him. At that time, he was sitting in the co-pilot seat, but from the rear-view mirror, he could see that there was still some distance between the back and the old man, and it should not have been possible to hit him, but in fact, the old man was indeed involved under the car. However, strange things are strange. I didn't think much about it. Which driver who has been driving for a long time will not encounter some accidents? But just at this time, a week later, the young master and his uncle had an accident again while delivering goods. At that time, they saw a child playing by the roadside, more than 1 meter away from the car. The young master also reminded the uncle to slow down, and the uncle also reduced to about 30 km, but the child was still involved under the car. Fortunately, the uncle braked in time, and the child was only slightly scraped. The child was a 6-year-old boy, accompanied by his parents, and the family went to the hospital. In the hospital, the little boy did not speak. When he saw the child not speaking, his parents were very anxious, and their emotions were a bit out of control. They kept scolding the young master and his uncle. The young master was not angry and kept apologizing. After all, his parents all understood. After the examination, the doctor said the child was fine, and the two people were relieved, paid the medical expenses and were ready to leave. But at this time, the child's parents did not let them go, and the two sides quarreled. Just at this time, the little boy who had not spoken for a long time said to his parents, "Mom and Dad are not, they didn't see me." Hearing this, the young master, the uncle, and the boy's parents were all confused. After all, they all saw the boy involved under the car with their own eyes, and it was quiet for more than 10 seconds. The boy said a sentence to the young master and his uncle, "Uncle, there is someone under your car. The person under the car pulled me in." At this time, the boy's parents immediately covered the boy's mouth and did not let him say it anymore. The young master and his uncle were trembling all over. After leaving the hospital, they went to check the surveillance at that time. Although it was very blurry, when they went to see the surveillance, they could indeed see that the boy was still some distance from the car. But when the rear of the car came to the boy, suddenly, the little boy seemed to be grabbed by something. After watching the surveillance, the two people broke out in a cold sweat and couldn't sleep well for several days. Thinking about buying the car much lower than the market price at the time, and then being foolish also knew that there was a problem with the car. In a fit of anger, the two people went to find the second-hand car dealer and asked for a long time. The car dealer finally told the truth. Before they bought the car, they met a person who was involved under the car and dragged for more than 10 meters. In the end, the car was returned, bought for 120,000, and returned for 100,000, losing 20,000 in more than 2 weeks. Well, see you at the next story.